Sending it. Man, my net is kicking. Oh my gosh, there's so many fish in here. That's a pretty big bass right there. But just look at the volume. We've got another couple hundred right here, all different species. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another adventure. We have got a big one today. So we are out here at the base of the dam of the draining lake. And as y'all can see, there is no water coming through the dam. We are at an all-time low. I almost feel like it's as low right now than it ever got last year. It could be a little bit higher, but it doesn't seem like it. The water is so low, it is so dried up. And yes, we are experiencing a brand new fish kill like we experienced last summer due to just the oxygen depletion in the water, the lack of water, and just the heat of the water. It's gotten so hot, you know, here in central Arkansas now that we're in August now. And I didn't know to what extent we would have a fish kill this year. I didn't think it would be nearly as much last year because I think that literally 80 to 90% of the entire population of fish died last year during the fish kill, but there were still some that remained and some fish that spawned. And y'all have seen that in some of our recent uploads. We've been catching some of the small bass that were living here in the lake, as well as some catfish and other things. But now they are starting to turn upside down, floating and dead due to the fish kill. But we're gonna start off here, messing around here below the dam. You can see just how low this is. Normally, the water is all the way up there on that ledge, and that is about maybe a 5 or 6 foot drop right there, which is pretty crazy. We got this little pool of water. It is super stagnant, and what we're going to do is we're going to try to figure out what exactly is still alive and trying to thrive here in this little puddle of water. I'm seeing a few things start to kind of swirl off. I've got the cast net. We're going to toss it out here. We're also going to go downstream because that's where I'm seeing most of the carnage is right down there, as well as up above the dam. But it should be an interesting one just to see what's going on. I would like to see some fish living and doing okay, but I don't know if that's going to be really the case today at all. There is a lot of guys floating, and it is starting to smell like dead fish down that way. But join along with me. Let's see what we can find and discover. I also want to take y'all up there into the lake bed a little bit. You can walk pretty much as far as you want to up there. It is all dried out. We might can find some things laying around loose in the lake bed. But ultimately, this is more of a check on the well-being of the fish, and it is not looking that good. But anyways, let's find out together. I've got the cast net. Let's get it rigged up, start tossing into this hole a few times to see what is chilling here in this hole beneath the dam. All right, so I'm not planning on making too many throws in this hole just because I know it's pretty snaggy, and I'm also not really planning on doing any sort of transportation of the fish because there's not really a better place for them. It just kind of depends what we catch. If we catch like a big old bass or something, for some reason, we'll try to locate it downstream a little bit, but I think the fish in the pool downstream are in just as bad a situation as what could be in here. Haven't seen any big movement, but there could be a little monster hanging out here below the spillway. So let's do a couple of throws. There's not as much dead fish in this one, so that's good, but I'm not gonna let it sink too far down. I want to get snagged up. See, I got snagged up a little bit. Did we catch anything? I'm kind of hoping we don't really catch anything here. I didn't catch anything in that throw. Oh my gosh, looks like somebody ate some oysters or something. Look at this. Look at all these oysters. That's not what I expected to see. Interestingly, I made a few throws in there and didn't catch anything and was borderline getting snagged up. So we're just gonna go ahead and start walking down this way. In the past, when there would be water, normal water, there'd be a lot of water right here, and it'd be a really good spot to catch some shad or even fish if you wanted to fish. And it wasn't that long ago. I actually put my kayak in, and I was all the way up in here paddling around. The river which this all drains to was up, and so this was up, but now, as y'all can see, it is very, very low. There'd be water all up in here, so it is kind of a unique opportunity to get to kind of walk around out here. But oh my gosh, it is pure carnage down this way. Wow. Okay, we just made it downstream, and this is not something fun to document. It smells so bad. You can already see the carnage behind me. All of these fish, and all these fish are much smaller than the ones we saw last year. Last year it was the fish that had been living in the lake for a long time, the fish that had you know, maybe swam through the dam or through these spillway pipes or even came up from downstream. These are fish that I think, same story, through the lake when the lake came up high this spring, and even fish that just got trapped in this pool. But they're not as big as they were last year. Last year was a ton of big buffalo and bass and gar and carp and stuff, and now these are smaller ones. So I think that these are fish that actually were spawned earlier this year and grew to this size, and now unfortunately are succumbing to the elements. Let me show you guys these fish. And yes, it is as stinky as it looks. Look at all of these fish. Look at all these small bass. It's majority bass this year, which was bass last year. It was bigger bass, but these are all the small bass, like the ones we were catching in a video not that long ago, as well as some smaller bluegill. Like, look at the bluegill. You can see, like, those are all bluegill. Listen to these flies. It is just buzzing. This is not the place that I really want to be wearing sandals right now, but oh my gosh, look at this. If your stomach is queasy, look at that. That is disgusting. But taking care of all these dead fish, it's so sad to see. In the middle there we got a long-eared sunfish, it looks like. But just look at the volume. And this is just one little pocket. It's all bluegill. Last year it was a bunch of shad and drum and stuff mixed in with the bluegill and the bass, but this year it's predominantly looking like game fish. Here's a little bit bigger bass. That might be one that survived last year and grew to that. But it's just one tiny spot. You can see them all washed up in here too. Got a yellow bass right there. And guys, that was just one tiny little pocket here in this pool. It goes on and on and on. Every little white speck that you see out there is a dead fish. So it doesn't throw my net. I gotta find a spot where I can throw the net, where I'm not gonna be just netting dead fish. Let's hike down this way a little bit and take a gander. This was really interesting last year because we were finding huge fish, like giant flatheads, giant bass, giant slab crappie, but this year it's all smaller, guys. There's a red ear. This. It's that red ear. I mean, but look at all these poor fish just dying. I thought maybe the smaller fish would have a better chance, but they are getting it. Here's some bigger ones. Look at that. Bigger bluegill. Look at all these bass. There's a shad. First shad I've seen. That's crazy. And it's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I should say thousands. Thousands and thousands. There's something kind of interesting. Look at this bass. Pretty good one. Biggest one that I've seen so far. It's probably a pound or so. Oh, these flies are insane. Look at this carp. Little, I don't think that's a buffalo. I think it's some sort of like quillback or some sort of sucker. I don't really know. But some pretty decent sized brim. These were the brim that were spawned out this year. They were growing and on their way to get big. This one here is actually still alive, that guy in the middle. So sad, so unfortunate. I know it's part of the process, but it sucks. I have not seen a crappie yet. Have y'all seen any crappie mixed in this? I have not seen any crappie. There's a drum. Little drum buddy right there. I'm trying to tiptoe through all this. Look at all those. And there's like bigger piles this year than there was last year. Here we go, guys. Found our first couple of crappie. Do y'all see them? Zoom in. Pretty decent white crappie, probably an 8-incher. And then he's got his buddy here beside him. And then we got a red ear, another red-eared sunfish right there. A few little buffalo. There's another crappie. Here's some little crappie mixed in. There's some baby buffalo on the bank too. Look at these little buffalo. Baby buffalo, little baby crappie. It's just nuts. It's just piles and piles and piles of dead fish. Look at this little orange guy. I think something was coming up here to eat him, and they got spooked. If you are some sort of fish-eating bird or raccoon or possum pal or something or a water snake, this is your heaven right here. Fish for days. I don't think they like to eat necessarily the rotten dead ones, but the ones that are struggling on the surface and dying, those are the ones that they're out here slurping down. I need to come out here at nighttime and just see how many snakes are out here eating these dead fish. Look at this guy right here. Here's a bass. He's swimming. Can y'all see him? Maybe not. He's swimming underneath the Surface a little bit. There he is, right there in the middle swimming. Likely a bass that is on his way out. But just unbelievable. Zoomed out. Look at all those fish. Look at how many there are. So many fish. And what I think is also especially crazy is that there's actually people down here fishing amongst all of these dead fish. It's crazy. Last year it was kind of a deal. There was some big giant, carp and stuff swirling around. People were, trying to catch and snag and do stuff with, but I don't even know if those guys are here now. I'm not seeing any of the big guys yet. We might cross into the lake and see some of those, but it's majority, mostly kind of like semi-adult fish. Not the biggest, but not small by any means. Let's climb up here on this bank and walk down this levee and see if we can see anything else. That's crazy. Guys, the smell out here is so bad. It's like intoxicating. I feel like I'm suffocating. Look at all those fish. Just move down the bank a little bit. We've got another couple hundred right here, all different species, bass and bluegill. Bluegill making up the majority. I had no idea there was this many bluegill down here. This spring, I tried catching some bluegill out in the lake and I couldn't do it. I haven't seen any at all. And I guess because they were down here. There is so many. There's a little butterfly, and you can see there's some little animal tracks. They've been down here enjoying the buffet. But again, like I said, I don't know if these fish are really eating these guys because they look pretty gross. Or the critters, not the fish. Once the fish turn over dead and they get all hot and baked in the sun, I think they're pretty gross. It really is sad seeing all of these bass washed up. I mean, there's so many of them, and they were definitely growing well and at a rapid pace. And had they survived and stayed in the lake, I mean, that is the future. It could have been the future. And it's the same brood stock that was originally in the lake that was so good, and the fish were so big and so healthy. But obviously, they did not make it. There's some turtles going down there. I'm surprised these are the first turtles I've seen. They have a liking for the bass. Those are all bass for the most part. Look at all those. Just piles of bass. There's a dead water snake. Or is it alive? Can't tell. See that snake right there? Yeah, he's dead. Dead diamondback water snake right there, just chilling. Just found our first dead channel catfish, which is kind of surprising, but I guess they're a little bit more tolerant to the conditions than all these bluegill. And there's a pretty good red ear right there next to a good bluegill. And then, of course, little bass. They just couldn't handle it. A very different looking scene than it was last year during the fish kill, just because, again, there were so many big fish, big buffalo, big drum, big catfish everywhere. There was big bass, big crappie. All the fish were big, all the normal size fish. And that's why it feels like these are all, for the most part, newer fish, because they're, like I said, kind of sub-adult, medium-sized fish. Like these bluegill I'm seeing aren't slabs. They're not the biggest bluegill. The crappie aren't slabs. They're all just that kind of, seems like first year of growth size fish. Could be year and a half. And I'm seeing so many fish still alive and swimming around. You can see them probably over my shoulder, surfacing and goofing around. I'm not sure if those are all game fish or if they're shad or what they are, but it's a lot to look at. And I'm kind of numb to it. Last year, it was really hard for me to come down and see all these fish because that was my greatest worry. And my thing I was dreading the most in the whole process was losing the fish. Like, I don't care about all the renovation work. It's awesome. The improvements they're making to the lake are great, but it's just the fish to me are the most important thing. And and just knowing there were so many good fish in here, I hated to see them go. It was tough. And then it was kind of exciting to see all these new smaller fish, but it's kind of just like a little bit of a false hope because they're all just turning up dead too. There are some holes in the lake. There are some, some small areas within the creek channels where the fish are going to survive. And I think in limited numbers. And I think that you'll probably see a boom like this again next year. But again, just kind of sucks. And it all just really depends on how low the water gets. We're going to continue walking around. We're going to try to find a little bit of a clear area where I could throw my cast net because I want to see what's living. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty much more of the same of what we're seeing floating, but it will be interesting to see like how many of these fish are alive still in this pool of water. Whew. Guys, if I don't end up with a flesh-eating bacteria, I'm gonna consider myself lucky, but I just feel like I need to take a bath, and I ain't been out here that long, but dadgum, it is rough. But we're going to commit to the promise, and we're gonna throw this net and see what we can get. I wish that we could save these fish somehow, but I really don't know what to do. I mean, like, this pool of water connects down that way, and it's a slough, and it goes down to the river, and I don't know if they're trapped. I don't know if all these fish are just fish that have floated down, or if it's just too many in this hole, but I feel like they have an escape route. I mean, last year when I saved some fish out of the lake, I put them in here to go down to the river, and I thought that was a pretty good move. But I don't know about this. There's just dead fish everywhere, and I just don't want to fill my net up with dead fish. But we're going to throw it. Feels kind of counterproductive to throw the net to see what's in here whenever we can clearly see what's in here. It's a bunch of baby bass and bluegill, but maybe there's something beneath the surface that we don't know that's living. There's a guy right there. We might catch something really interesting. I just don't want to fill this thing with dead fish. I did that one time last year. I filled my net up with dead fish, and I was like, oh brother, I wanted to leave my net. But here we go, sending it. Oh, I caught the one dead fish I had to miss. Man, my net is kicking. Oh my gosh, there's so many fish in here. Brother, look at all these fish. Holy cow, I just filled my net up. Look at all these fish still alive. I'm gonna dump them in my bucket. Oh, I got a big old green sunfish looking thing. I got a catfish. Man, I got the actual hodgepodge of things just then. Look at all these suckers I got. They're not actually suckers. I've got a whole hodgepodge of things. I've got a baby channel cat. Little baby channel cat. This is the biggest fish I got. I got a warmouth. Look at that. He looks a little yellow. I got a bluegill. Nice little 4-incher. I got a red ear. A red-eared sunfish. I got a baby buffalo, I think. And a bunch more baby buffalo. It's mostly baby buffalo in there. How many species was that? Like 5 species in one throw. We did not catch a bass. Maybe it's because they're all dead. I was expecting to catch a bass. Let's throw it again. I didn't catch a gar. I didn't catch a crappie. The majority of what I'm seeing dead is bass. I think there's more bass dead than anything else, which that is just crazy. But I guess there was more bass in here than anything else. Okay, that's one throw. Let's throw it again. Pretty much everything I caught just in my net, I see dead on the bank right here too. There's some nice red ear though. Look at this red ear. Got a couple of red ear right here. Look at this one right here, red ear. That's a pretty solid red ear. Whoop. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'm sure y'all can almost smell it through the camera or through the TV or the phone or whatever you're watching this on, but I would give it a level. It's an 8 out of 10. It's bearable, you know, but it's just it's a deep smell. I feel like it's going deep inside of me. I feel like I'm absorbing it. It's a gross, just deep stink. It's not like you just, you walk by a dead hog on the road and you're like, oh, that's gross. It's just really nasty. That was a horrible throw, but I bet we catch something. Kind of a long, skinny throw. Oh, yeah, there's some stuff tapping in my net. Oh my gosh, I might have got more that time. Holy cow. Those all buffalo? What are those? What do we have this time? I got another catfish. That's kind of, little catfish are the worst things to catch in your net. Okay. That was not nearly as interesting a haul, but we did get some more baby bluegill, a shad. We got a couple shad. We got some shad that throw. Baby gizzies. And I got a bass. We got our first little baby bass. Look at that. Little tiny largemouth. And some more baby buffalo. I need a cooler. We can use them buffaloes for some bait. We can use all that for bait. That's all That's all good bait that we could use. Can't use the catfish for bait, but we could use the little brim. We can use the rough fish, the shad. That might be what we do. Instead of trying to save the fish, we might just try to save them for bait. Geez, you can like see like the oils like popping out of these dead fish. I'm gonna try to do a little bit better of a throw. I'm gonna move down just a little bit further. Just keep migrating. I kind of had a boundary. I gotta go back and get my stuff I left behind. Oh, this is bad. I mean, look at this pile of fish. This is mostly baby buffalo, but there is a lot of bluegill and red ear, as well as some crappie. There's a couple of crappie, bunch of flies. There's not really anywhere else we could throw the net without catching dead fish. Boom. Now what we got? If I could throw this net out in the middle, there's no telling what I would get. Not as much in that haul. Oh gosh, there's more than I thought. Did we get a crappie? I tell you what, there's a bunch of bluegill to be got. More of the same. Mostly buffalo, a couple bluegill, a couple baby catfish. I'm gonna get my stuff and change locations where I can throw it out a little bit deeper. Got lots of dead fish on the bank right here, but I think these are probably just fish that somebody caught in their net and just shook off out here on the bank. It looks kind of out of place a little bit. It's a bunch of shad. I'm surprised they didn't keep them in their buckets. Maybe I'm about to fill my net up with shad right here. It's probably the shad spot. That's all shad, hundreds of shad. I mean, thousands of shad. And buffalo and brim, everything mixed together. Whew. I'm not gonna be able to hang out here much longer. It's getting to me. I'm getting lightheaded. I might pass out and fall in here and drown in a bunch of dead fish. Oh, let's take a shot right here. There's not too many dead fish here, and it's a little bit deeper. Perfect throw. Doesn't feel too full. Oh gosh, it is. Holy cow, that's the best throw yet. Definitely got some bass that time. I mean, how many fish did I just catch in that throw? I caught like 40 fish just then. They're all down in there. I'll be splashing that crap in my eyes. I thought I saw a bass. Yeah, here's a good bass. There's a good bass right there. About a 8-inch largemouth. Bunch more buffalo. A bunch of buffalo. It's crazy how many buffalo there are. A bunch of these little 4-inch bluegill too. Man, that was pretty much all buffalo. That's got to be good catfish bait. Feels full. And the guy shot lots of baby buffalo. Yeah, I think it'd be great bait. You want them? Yeah, I think I just filled the bucket up with them. I got some shad. Bass. Yeah, some bass. Look at that. There's a nice bass. But I think pretty much all that's bait. Yeah. A little brim. All those are buffalo and bluegill. You got something you want to put some in?
Yeah, I just grab it.
Yeah, get you one out of there. Them buffaloes.
Remind me of them black salties.
Yeah, I think that'd be good bait.
Thank you, man.
No problem. You want any more? No. I just put like another 30 in this bucket. Got some more buffaloes. I did catch my first couple of crappie. Look at this. Little baby crappie. That cute little baby crappie. Anything interesting? I think I got a different kind of, yeah, I got a little long-eared sunfish too. Add that to the species list. And nothing else too crazy. Nice little bluegill. It's truly crazy how many fish are in that pool of water. Each one of my net throws yielded around 40 fish, and I think if I made a good throw and just kept going and hit a good pocket, I could probably catch upwards of 100 fish in one throw, mostly, you know, bluegill, bass, and buffalo. It's insane, and it's insane how many fish are dying. I have no idea what's gonna look like out here tomorrow. It's happening at an hourly pace. I was out here just a few days ago, and it kind of looked like they were starting to kind of get a little weak, but they weren't floating like this. And now all of a sudden, one day, and they are just running out of oxygen. The water's getting too hot. The water's turning over, and they're just turning up dead everywhere. But with that, we're going to go on ahead and move over on the other side of the levee and take a look in the lake. I want to show you guys the little draining canal, and we're going to see if there's any fish in there. I think I'm just going to take my dip net, maybe dip around if we see anything cool. I don't think I'm going to throw my net. I think I'll just get hung up, but I do want to show it to y'all because it is rather interesting. There's a ton of birds over there, meaning that there should be some sort of fish over there. Okay, so this is pretty crazy. There's the levee of the lake, and then here's a drain. This was kind of help draining it, and if you look down there in the bottom of the drain, you can see all of those little fish that are trapped. I don't want to spook them. They all look like they're baby bass. Y'all see them? Look at all those baby bass down there in the hole. And bluegill. They're just in there chilling, and that's all the water they have. It's unbelievable. Let's see if I can get over there without spooking them too bad. Literally, guys, this tiny puddle is holding a ton of fish. They kind of marked it up and got scared, but you can see them swimming there on the perimeter. It's pretty insane. They're all starting to kind of show themselves again. It's mostly tiny largemouth. That's crazy. There's so many fish in there. Now we're up over the levee, overlooking the lake, and you can see there is no lake anymore. The water used to come all the way up, basically to where all this growed up grass is. That's where the water used to come, and now it is all gone. They've been digging this little canal out so that the water can drain, but they pretty much got all the water off. Might look over here and see some fish. This is the little zone that I was in last year whenever I was saving all those flathead catfish that were trapped. That was a crazy video. If you haven't checked that one out, I'll leave it linked down below. But there was just flathead catfish just everywhere, but they kind of got dug out now to where there's not as much on the surface, but there could be some just right there where the little rushing water is. Might go down there and scoop with the dip net and see if we can't scoop us up some. There's a fish right there. I don't know what that is. Might be better with a cast net, but I'm gonna take the little dip net down there and see if we can wrangle up anything. We do have some dead fish here, as I expected. There's a pretty good bass right there. These are all fish that came out of the lake. So these are the fish that were living in the lake this year that are no longer living. That one there almost looks like a cichlid, but it's not. It's a bluegill. He's just all blowed up. Might be able to scoop something here. I should have grabbed my bigger net, but we'll try with this one. Oh, it's deep. Holy cow. Huh. Did not get anything. I probably need a bigger net. Yeah, they got this thing dug out. Last year they did not. Oh gosh, don't fall in, coleslaw. Nothing. Nothing. I bet you I could throw my net right there and catch something, but I don't want to risk getting the net stuck. So we're probably not going to. I caught something. It's a bluegill. I saw him kind of sitting there on the surface, kind of struggling. Did successfully dip net something though, a little bluegill. Let's take our talents out here in the lake bed a little bit and just see if there's anything worth seeing. So out there, as far as you can see, there are vultures and little white egret birds out there feasting and ambushing dead fish floating by. And then as you kind of look right here, you can see there's a pile of them that have congregated here up against this pole. This kind of just shows the fish that were surviving in the lake or had survived. It's a bunch of bluegill, a couple of big gizzards, kind of surprised to see the big gizzards, but a bunch of good sized bluegill and kind of equivalent sized baby bass. There's a pretty good bass right here. Look at this one. This is the biggest bass I've seen. Oh my gosh, do not fall in, Cole. Okay, look at that right there, that one by the rock. He looks even bigger, all swelled up, but there's a couple of big gizzards. but a bunch of bluegill. But these are decent sized fish. Like that's borderline a keeper right there. And it did, if it was born this year, it grew quite a bit. So, oh well, there they go. The only way that I'm like slightly okay with all these fish dying is if the Game and Fish does stock this place with copper-nosed bluegill, and bajillions of them. They stock up the copper-nosed bluegill, I'll shut up. I heard rumors and the ideas that they were, so if they do, I'll be quiet. I'll close my mouth. But right now, I am sad to see all these fish dead because they mean a lot to me. They've meant a lot to my life. It has been my life, my entire life, fishing this lake, catching these fish. It has been my career for the last 7 years, mostly fishing this lake and the resources that it provides. So I hate to see it in this state. It's very depressing. I should be 6 feet over my head in water right now. This is usually the deepest part. And right now it is just a barren wasteland of dead fish, murkiness. It's insane. It's insane to see it this dry. And I saw it like this last year, but I hadn't seen it like this in a while, so now it's coming back to me how insane it actually is. Because again, this is like one of the deeper areas of the lake and it is completely dry. Let's go upstream a little bit more and see if there's any. I want to see if there's a big fish. That's what I'm most curious about. Is, are there any big fish? Were there any big fish left? And if we don't see them, then that means that they either all died last year or there's still some big fish surviving. But the big fish, they can't handle this stuff as good as the little fish. And the little fish, they're getting nuked right now. That's a pretty big bass right there compared to the other ones. And them about 2.5 pounds. I can't really walk over there. You can see the mud right here crackling. I took a few steps out there and it was trying to eat me up. But that's a pretty big bass. That's probably the biggest fish I've seen so far. You see all these little spiky, kind of toothpicky, scrambly old, brambly old branch trees. These were some of the most deadly trees for both crappie fishing, catfishing, and bass fishing. So all those things. Caught a bunch of fish here. This is a deeper, little ditch, little creek channel. And these trees are very different than all the other stumps. You can see all the other stumps. They're just pretty much just stumpy like that guy. But all these little brambly guys, they were the perfect little pieces of brush that you could fish your baits through without really getting snagged up because they're not really branchy. They're just snaggly. So it's cool to see them in this dried up state because we knew they were like this. You can kind of tell in low water when the water got clear, but when the water's down, you can really see, just how sprawly they really are. And I think it's pretty neat. I don't think they're going to be clearing these for any reason. Hopefully they don't, because these held a bunch of fish. It's great habitat. Nothing, you couldn't replace these with anything and probably have better habitat than this right here. You can go out here and remove stumps and put different types of things, but this stuff, there's not a whole lot of this type of stuff in the lake and it holds fish. All right, well, I've pretty much seen all that I need and want to see today out here on the draining lake. Just wanted to get out here, kind of feel it out. It's my first time like really been out here in the dried up lake bed since it got dry. It needs to dry out a little bit more to be able to get a little bit closer to this creek, but it's pretty much just the same stuff over there we were seeing everywhere else. Just a bunch of smaller dead fish. I'm sure there's some bigger ones out there, and I'm sure that there are some live ones still kicking in some of the little bit deeper holes. When I say deeper holes, I don't mean like 10, 15, 7 foot, 8 foot holes out here in this lake. I don't think there's none of that. There's really not any of that out here left. So for maybe a couple of spots, it might touch 8 foot. I don't know, but the majority of the water that is in the lake is less than 4 foot. And yeah, it makes it really difficult for these fish to survive. It's really breezy out here. It feels good. Hopefully it's not messing up the audio too much. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. It's not really a lot to enjoy, but it is interesting. Just wanted to give y'all an update, just have it on the record. I think of our channel as a historical record of time, basically just like points in our lifetime and things that happened. We've been documenting everything that has happened in our life since we picked up this camera back in 2018. All the highs, all the lows. I would definitely say this is kind of a lower point as far as fishing recreation and the history of this lake. But maybe in 5 or 6 or sooner, or maybe 10 years, if we're still making videos, we can look back and be like, this spot here was dry, all the fish were dead, and now there's a bunch of 2-pound copper nose and 10-pound Titan bass and stuff in here. That would be really, really cool. And it's cool to see, because like last year, I was like, all the fish died, and pretty much all of them did, but some did survive, some spawned, and the result is the fish that we're seeing coming up dead this year. But it just it just, you know, show you that these fish can rebound quite quickly. There is the thing called the new lake effect. You know, when the lake is drained, you get all these things that grow up, all these new nutrients that, you know, are put into the lake, and it can cause rapid growth of fish, which is exciting. But I'm just ready to get there. I'm ready for the day when they get this dam going. I don't know what they got as far as the dam. They've got the boat trails, you know, pretty locked up and good, but they need to get this dam done, figure out if they're going to, or fix this one or close it so that we can have water in here once again and the fish can swim around and be happy, and we'll know that we're on the up and up. There's still a couple of places I haven't brought y'all to out here on this lake that I want to, so be on the lookout for those videos. If y'all have any suggestions or ideas or things you'd like to see on the channel regarding the dried up lake, whether it be like some dock renovation at our house, habitat stuff for fish, we're in a place now where we can do a little bit of that. Or if you just want to see us come out here and look around for lost treasures in the lake bed, we could do that too. There was a bunch of cool old antique glass bottles, and there was actually a tornado that hit this place and threw crap everywhere, so you might find some tornado stuff. I don't know. We could do quite a bit of stuff, but we don't have a whole lot of time because the fall is going to hit here and probably get some fall rains and kind of murk it up again. So let me know. Thanks for letting me ramble. Thanks for letting me bring y'all along on this adventure, and we'll be sure to give y'all some more updates real soon. If y'all could, and you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 300,000 subscribers. We would love to hit 300K before the end of the year. We would greatly appreciate it. And thanks to all y'all that have been riding with us for a long time. But yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see y'all